Leo has pretty good range on his one jab. He also has the generic 1-2 jab string, which deals 15 damage and is only -3 on block. The string is now more important than ever because 1-4 is now basically launch punishable on block, and we can no longer use it like we used to in older games. 1-2 also has the added benefit that it tracks both sides really well, so it keeps your opponent from just pressuring you, can contest minor frame disadvantages, and it keeps your opponent from sidestepping and sidewalking. It also has follow-ups, so you can make good use of the -3 on block. 1-2-1 is his jab string into a spinning back fist. It's completely safe, but it is a high. It's a great tool to keep your opponent from contesting after 1-2 on block. You can also delay it quite a bit. It doesn't have any counter hit properties by itself, but it does have 2 follow-ups, and if the back fist connects, the follow-up is guaranteed. You have 1-2, 1-4 for this big juicy high kick, so it's 46 damage just for connecting with the back fist. But it's a high, can be ducked and launched. But you also have 1-2, 1-1, which is the back fist into mid punch. This one is -13 on block. You can delay the back fist itself, but you have to commit to the follow-up. Those cannot be delayed. Make sure your opponent is aware of this, then you can make better use of your 1-2 jabs. Once in a blue moon, just let the whole string rip, show them that you're crazy, make them scared to attack. That's like the best use, in my opinion. Another great usage is if you step something and you actually get to your opponent's back, the whole string is guaranteed. 1-4 is jabs into a low kick. It's 15 damage plus 3 on hit, so it's pretty decent. On block it's -13, not the worst. Keep in mind that there is no mid after 1-2. Your opponent can always duck and avoid the follow-ups, but this is to some degree exactly what you want. You do 1-2s, 1-2s, show them that you have follow-ups, make sure that they are scared to attack, and if you use the low once in a blue moon, it will probably hit, or it will even counter hit and get some nice like 28 damage. It's great to give your opponent something to think about. Use it sparingly, but use it. Another good thing about his 1-2 jab and his string is that if the second hit connects as a counter hit, the whole string is guaranteed. You can actually somewhat hit confirm it too. Not on full delay, but you can delay it quite a bit and it's still a combo, as you can see here. So if you do jab a lot, you will sometimes find these cases where this second jab is a counter hit and you can just let the whole string rip and get a 58 damage combo off your jabs. It's hard, but it's doable. It happens, so keep that in mind. You also get the low for free if the jab connects, but you can't delay it. You have to commit to the low, and if the second jab is a counter hit, you get the low for free. It's nice, sometimes it will happen, but the 1-2, 1-4 follow-up is much more rewarding, and it's something that you can, toy around a bit. It's quite a big payoff, but yeah, it won't happen that much. You have to basically whiff your first jab and counter hit with the second one and then realize that it happens. But it feels pretty good if you do pull it off. Leo has a generic down forward one at 13 frames. It's +7 on hit, only -1 on block. This is a great tool to have. Now Leo's down forward 1 does pretty decent damage at 13, which is above average for a down forward 1, but it doesn't track either way and the range is not the best. Now despite being -1, it actually has a follow-up that's usable with down forward 1-2. It's 20 damage, knockdown for a free down 4. On counter hit, it gives you a hard knockdown for a free follow-up. It's pretty decent damage. And if the first hit is a counter hit, the second is guaranteed. So that's 45 damage guaranteed, which is pretty good considering you're only -1 on block. Usually if you have a down forward 1 with usable follow-ups, The down forward 1 itself is like -3, but I guess the follow-up is bad enough to not warrant like bad frames, but it's pretty good to have, honestly. Now, if you don't want to take the guaranteed damage after the knockdown, you could also go for Oki. You have pretty good options with up back 3 and down forward 2+3. Both of these deal significantly more damage compared to down 4. They do hit grounded and they are also pretty good on block. If you do up back 3 and they get up, you're at +1 and the low is only -12. And the best thing is if they do something stupid like a get up 4, this will launch them and the low will also launch them. So it's a pretty good option for wake up if you don't want to take the guaranteed down 4, or if it's like not enough to kill them, you could go for something like this. Down forward 4 is another 13 frame mid poke. While the frames on block are much worse compared to down forward 1, it has slightly more range, and on block it creates some distance between you and your opponent. So it's great at keeping your opponent away from you. You can still backdash at -6, trying to create a whiff and whiff punish. So it's much more of a defensive tool, whereas down forward 1 is far superior for offense. Leo has a 12 frame magic 4, which knocks down on counter hit for a free Bok 1+2. The follow-up stuns your opponent, guaranteeing a free stomp for a total of 54 damage, which is insanely good and makes it his best counter hit tool. Now the whole combo is actually not a true combo. Bok 1+2 will always be guaranteed, but you can avoid the stun that guarantees the stomp. By inputting a toe kick or a spring kick before the first follow-up hits, you will get a different recovery animation and avoid the not so guaranteed stomp. Now if the Leo player anticipates the toe kick, they can punish the attempt by doing a slightly delayed Bok 1-2 instead, which will float for a combo. This will, however, miss if the opponent just sits still. So if you are playing against Leo, make sure to attempt the toe kick to force a guessing game instead of always yielding to a 54 damage combo. Forward 2-4 is Leo's new high string. It deals 30 damage natural combo. It's only -1 on block and it jails. So if the first hit is blocked, you can't duck the second hit, which makes this quite cheap. You know, forward 2 by itself is really good, it has good range. It tracks to Leo's right, 14 frame speed, just very solid by itself. It's 0 on block, but now that we have forward 2-4, which is only -1 on block, there's little reason to not do the kick extension because you know you can't duck it. It's just 1 frame of a difference and the payoff is much better if you finish the string. With Lightning Glare you are getting a third hit, forward 2-4-3, which adds a high damage mid and then deals 44 damage, wall splats, and it's the only safe Lightning Glare option. It's actually plus, it's +1 if it's blocked. You can also go into stance. It's the best Lightning Glare option in my opinion, and forward 2-4 by itself is also really good. It's something that you can just use, you know, it's quick, it's good damage, it's pretty safe, and on block you still get to attack. Forward 3+4 is another one of Leo's new moves. It's this pretty long range high kick coming out at 17 frames, it deals good damage. On block it's 0. So you can kind of do forward 3+4 into forward 3+4, and it also deals 7 chip damage. It's a great keep out tool, it's a great counter hit tool. On counter hit you get a full combo. Forward 3 is a long range advancing big high kick coming out at 20 frames. It's 0 on block, you can go into stance by pressing down, you can go into box stance, giving you +2 on block. It is very similar to forward 3+4. It is slightly slower, but it also has slightly more range. It's a counter hit launcher as well, just like forward 3+4, although it doesn't instant tornado like forward 3+4. But the caveat is that the pickup is kind of hard. You have to do instant while standing free. Now, the instant while standing free timing isn't super strict, but if you want more damage, you can do micro dash down forward to pulse free. This will deal more damage, 82, really high. Another thing is that if you counter hit and you go into stance, if you have heat, you can, not always, convert this into a combo. So if the down forward 4 connects, you can heat engage and get the full combo. But yeah, so the pickup isn't like super consistent compared to forward 3+4. It's also not that bad on whiff, because you can go into block and dodge most things, whereas forward 3+4 kind of lets you sit in place and be very susceptible. Now, two of his main mids, down forward 2 and down back 2, I have already covered in the punishment section, but I feel they need to be mentioned here as well. If you haven't seen the punishment section, please do watch part 1. Down forward 2 is a normal hit launcher. It does launch crouching opponents, but it is minus 13 on block. But because of how much range it has and how well it tracks, it's like the best unsafe move that you could just throw out. And down back 2 is safe by itself. 16 frame fast, it has really good range, decent tracking as well, which is something Leo struggles with, so that makes these two moves even more important. And if you hit the first hit, you can confirm the down back to 4 for 38 damage and a heat engage, but you do have to hit confirm because the second hit is a high, can be ducked and launched. If you are already in heat, you will heat dash for a full combo. Forward 4-2 is Leo's Demon Paw type of attack. A quick mid punch coming out of a dash. It's completely safe on block, deals 25 damage in wall splats. It's a great tool for the neutral game. Down forward 3 is your go-to homing move. It's decently quick at 17 frames, does solid damage, wall splats, and is completely safe at minus 9 on block. It's one of your most important moves, given how linear many other key moves are, so you will have to use this move a lot. Luckily, it's a pretty good homing move to use. Down 2 is Leo's big advantageous mid. It deals good damage on hit, is plus 4 on block, and a full launch on counter hit. Now that it has swapped counter hit properties with down 1 compared to Tekken 7. This was a big nerf in general, because down 1 was more suited as a counter hit launch, due to being faster and having more range. But while this was an enormous nerf to down 1, it did make down 2 much better. It is an excellent move now. The only weakness of this move is its beyond shitty tracking. It seems like it actively tries to whiff, after they just try to tech roll, for example. So if you use this after your opponent tech rolled, make sure you are realigned after the tech roll to not whiff down 2. But it's still an amazing move to use whenever you have momentum. Up back 3 is this big jumping stomp attack. It's quite slow, but it's pretty good on block. It's 0 on block up to plus 1, depending on how late it hits. It deals good damage, but it's like super slow. The range, it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But for the most part, I would just use down 2 instead. It has better range, it has better frames, it's faster. It's a counter hit launcher as well, but where up back 3 really shines is if you get a guaranteed ground hit, it deals the most damage, so that's its most prominent use case. Also, it's great for Oki, for example, after hitting down forward 1-2, the second hit. Your opponent is knocked down and they cannot tech roll, and if they stay down, you know, this will hit rather than the guaranteed down 4. So it's great for Oki and great for grounded hits when it's guaranteed because it's the highest damage. Down back 3 is a very evasive high kick launcher. It's very slow and some people can react and duck, but the risk you're taking is usually just being hit before it lands or it completely whiffing. He goes back and he goes down quite a bit. It's very evasive. It will beat many mids. As you can see here, you can just go under Leo's down forward 1 without any issues and, you know, steal the game basically, because on hit it's a big combo. You can just throw it out at a minor frame disadvantage at like -6 even. You can just do this and sometimes evade some mids. For example, you can do crouch dash 2-1 on block, you're -6, and then you just do down back 3. And if your opponent does something like a down forward 1, you can crush it. It's kind of cheap. If they don't duck it, it's safe on block. You can absolutely rub some games with this. Sometimes you will evade things that you don't think you should evade. Quarter circle forward 2-1 or crouch dash 2-1 is one of Leo's best moves. It's an advancing mid string. It's a 31 damage natural combo. The second hit has ridiculous tracking. It's +10 on hits, although it has quite some pushback, so you can't use these frames too well, and only -6 on block. At the wall, it's +22, it's a wall stun. The second hit also has counter hit properties. If it counter hits, you can run up to a heat engager and get a full combo. If you don't have heat, you can still get a small combo, or go for a slightly more difficult pickup by doing a deep dash forward 4. It's your go-to option after cancelling K&K into a crouch dash for a mid, and it perfectly complements his crouch dash low, crouch dash 1, which is 18 frames, and crouch dash 2-1 is 17 frames, so you can't like fuzzy guard it. You can use it all day, it doesn't really have any weaknesses. Up forward 2-1 is another really good mid string. 18 frames startup, jumping fist into another fist, so it low crushes, completely safe. You will always get at least a mini combo for 41 damage, which is already pretty good. If you're a god, you can always do instant while standing 3 for a pickup, for a full launch. Now in my case I was too slow and this was not a true combo, they could just tech roll it. But in this game, in Tekken 8, you have heat engage, which you can use for a full combo. So even if you're not god gamer or consistent instant while standing freeze, we now also get full combos off of this move, which is really good, you know, 60 damage, safe launch, easy combo. If you don't have heat, you know, just stick to the mini combo. Another thing that you can do instead of doing the heat engage for full combo or your mini combo is to sacrifice the guaranteed down forward 2. So you sacrifice 15 damage and instead try to go for the not true combo pickup, same as in instant while standing 3, you know, but the easy version would be to just do back 1+2, and if they don't tech roll, you get this combo for 54 damage in this case. So you sacrifice 15 to potentially get 54 damage, but you know, if you're playing against Leo, you can always just tech roll it and there's not much that's going to happen. But if they don't tech roll, you know, it's a small sacrifice, 15 damage sacrifice for a chance at 54 damage. No, potentially more if you do get to the wall. You can also do back 1-4 and do your old school wall carry combos. Also, the second hit on counter hit has this type of knockdown, just like crouch dash 2-1. So if the second hit counter hits, you can also just run up, do the heat engager, and once again get a full combo. You can also cancel it, the first hit, into box stance by pressing up forward 2 down, but you don't have the frames to, you know, make use of the stance. Also, you are giving up the combo. If you do get, if the first hit connects and you cancel it, you don't get anything, so you're missing out your 60 damage easy combo, and the whole string is safe, so it's not like you need to cancel it, and it's not like block does anything good for you because there are no lows. I don't think you should ever cancel it. Now, while up forward 2-1 is safe on block, you can sidestep right, second hit and launch it. And you can also parry the second hit if you have a punch parry, but most players won't. Sidestep 1+2 is another really good mid. It's 19 frame fast after the sidestep, 30 damage, really good range, completely safe, has a low hitting hitbox, so this is what you can usually do after a heat dash. Easy high damage follow-up, and on counter hit you're getting this knockdown where you can follow up with a heat engage and get a full combo. If you don't have heat engage or you don't want to use it, you can do block 1+2 into stomp, so it's kind of the same combo like with Magic 4 on counter hit. It's really good, completely safe, high damage, just another really good mid. While rising 3-1-2 is Leo's crouching counter hit string. It's coming out at 13 frames, and on counter hit the whole string is guaranteed and knocks down for a 3 down 4 or Oki. It's the same knockdown as down forward 1-2, where you can do either up back 3 or down forward 2+3. The first two hits are mids and a natural combo, but the damage is pretty low. Last hit is a high, so it can be ducked and launched if you commit without counter hitting. You have to input the last hit pretty early, so you can't truly hit confirm it. You have to twitch confirm it. So do the first two, and if you see your opponent twitch, pull the trigger on the last hit. The first two hits are actually -10, but the last hit disincentivizes punishing. It does actually knock down on counter hit for a guaranteed forward 1+2. You can also transition into block after the first two hits, which will evade jab punishes and potentially launch them. And the frames are not that bad on transition. So if they want to challenge, they have to challenge the stance with quick moves. 1+2 is Leo's Power Crush. The range isn't the best. It's also very slow at 25 frames. The damage is pretty good, also at 25, and it's a mid, but being a mid means it's unsafe. This one's -12. -12 is not that bad, but in general I don't think this Power Crush move is very good. I would prefer a safe high Power Crush. I think those are kind of cheap. The problem with this one is just that it's too slow. Being slow means that you can sometimes eat the whole string and then they just block because you are getting slowed down during the Power Crush, and then they just block, but you don't have anything else. Back 1-4 is the best way to utilize K&K stance. It's an 18 frame long range mid-mid string that leaves you at +9 on block and stance. It's not a natural combo unless the first hit counter hits. And if the second hit counter hits, you can get K&K 1-2 for free, which will heat engage and can heat dash for a full combo. Although it's not that easy to confirm the counter hit. Now technically you can sidestep the second hit to the right, but I wouldn't worry about that until you actually run into someone who does that. Now K&K is not the best mix-up stance, but back 1-4 is a good way to maintain offense, given that you still get to attack after having two mids blocked. Ideally you keep them honest with K&K 2, which is a quick high that counter hit launches any interruptions, and then apply your stance or crouch dash mix-ups once they stop contesting you. I will cover Leo's stance options in more detail in the next part, after I have talked about his kilos, so make sure to stick around. And if you have made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really mean a lot to me if you do. Thanks. Now let's talk about his lows. Down 4 is one of Leo's quicker low pokes. It's coming out at 16 frames, deals 13 damage, neutral on hit, although at tip range is actually +1. On block it's only -11, which is about as safe as a low can get, so that's really good. Good range, quick, super safe, it's just a great go-to poke, really annoying. It also has a follow-up with down 4-2. It's not a combo, only on counter hit. And the second hit is a high. It's only -5, but it can be ducked. But the follow-up, just being there makes this move like even harder to punish. It's really safe at -11, but now it also has this follow-up which will beat the punish if they attempt the punish. Quite scary to have. It's a really good low. Down forward 2+3 is Leo's best low. Doesn't have the best range, it's not the fastest, but on hit it's 20 damage and it's +5, which is a shit ton for a low. And on block it's only -12. It also high crushes. It has some tracking to the side, to his right, but the cheapest thing is on counter hit. It's a full combo launch. Only -12 for 20 damage, +5 on hit, counter hit launching, high crushing low. Like what? This might just be the best low in the game. Now Leo doesn't make the best use of +5 crouching, and down forward 2+3 puts him into crouch. His full crouch game is kind of shit, so maybe there's the balance. You don't have any low that's not launch punishable. You can go for full crouch down forward 3, but it staggers, so it's def on block, and it's kind of seeable. You can mix it up with like while standing 2. It's unadoptable, but it's, you know, it's -13. At +5, do you really want to use like moves that are this unsafe? If they respect the +5, you could also do like something safer, like up forward 2-1 is a pretty good option. You have access to this move even from crouch. While standing 3-1 is pretty good if you are good at hit confirming the full string, but ideally they just respect the plus frames enough so that you can get away with just crouch cancelling, honestly. Back 1+4 is kind of a weird move. It's a low with a high attached. It's coming out at 19 frames. It has really good range. This is basically Leo's longest range low poke. Now, to me it always looked like the low would guarantee the high, but the high actually connects before the low. So if your opponent is blocking, they are blocking the high and then getting hit by the low. So usually you will just hit with the low, which deals 12 damage. It's +3 on hit, which is pretty good, making this just a fantastic long range low poke. And the high also protects you from hop kicks and things like that. On block, it's only -12, which makes this pretty safe. And on counter hit, you are getting +14, which guarantees you're back to 1+2 or you're back 3-1-2. If you are already in heat, this means you can also guarantee the heat dash combo. But it's like super downscaled and actually deals less damage than just doing your back to 1+2 combo by itself. Quarter circle forward 1 is Leo's crouch dash low. It's coming out at 18 frames after the crouch dash, 17 damage, which is really good, -1 on hit, on block, it's -13, so like for Leo standards, it's quite unsafe for a low, right? It's really good. It tracks both ways, actually. It's perfect to be mixed up with crouch dash to 1. Similar speed, both have really good tracking. Whenever you are getting into crouch dash, you can use this mix up. On counter hit, you're getting +11, which guarantees you while standing for 1+2. If you are already in heat, this means you can also get the heat dash follow-up. This combo deals about as much damage as just this would do in Tekken 7, but oh well. Still, it's a really good low. Advancing, tracking, good damage. The only downside is like that it's -1, I guess. At -13, certain characters will fuck you up, and at -1, Leo doesn't get to do much, except for while standing 4, I guess. Down 3+4 makes Leo do the generic crouching down 4. It's a 12 frame low that only deals 6 damage, it's -4 on hit, since Tekken 8 actually launch punishable on block, but despite all these bad properties, being a 12 frame low that high crushes, that's a great round ender. Full crouch down forward 3 is a long range knockdown sweep, knocks down for a small combo. The highest damage you can get is 40 by doing dash up back 3. You can also do forward 3, you can do block 2 for 38 damage, So high payoff, but also very risky. As you can see, staggers on block. I think you can see it, but it's not easy. But if your opponent is looking for it, it makes it much easier. So after doing like down forward 2+3 and then this, it might be easier to block than just approaching and doing a full crouch sweep. I would rarely use this, but it is good. Now, where it really shines is at the wall. At the wall, if you have heat engage available, you can get a full wall combo. It's kind of disgusting, so that's 75. And if you're in a stage with breakable hazards, wall breaks, balcony breaks, explosive stuff, things like that, you can get while standing 3-1-2, and then it will blow up the tanks or break the walls, things like that. It's crazy good at the wall. Down back 4-1 is Leo's Hell Sweep type of tag. It's a low mid string that's guaranteed if the low hit connects. If you're close up, you're getting 2 extra damage, but the good thing about this move is that even at tip range, the low will always trip and guarantee the mid follow-up. On block, it's obviously super unsafe. Now, on counter hit, the first hit is a counter hit launcher, so you can try to fish for counter hits this way because it does high crush. But honestly, it's only 1 frame faster compared to down forward 2+3 and much more unsafe. So if you want to counter hit launch, I think this one is just better. If you have lightning glare, your Tekken 8 gimmick, you can add a third hit for 10 extra damage by doing down back 4-1, 1+2. Super high damage and low, but keep in mind that like 19 damage is recoverable, and in general, if you do the move, only 17 of the damage is unrecoverable, 12 damage is recoverable. So if you compare it to down forward 2+3, which deals 20 damage, this 20 damage actually sticks. So at the beginning of the round, this is actually kind of worse in terms of payoff, because it's very likely that your opponent will recover this gray health. So use it sparingly, and in general I would just prefer using this one because it's so much safer. But it's a great way to make your opponent duck, and on hit you do get to run up and mix them up again. Now, where this move really shines is close to walls. At certain ranges it can wall splat for a full combo, and where it gets really ridiculous is when there are stage hazards, because then you can always get a full combo for hitting an unseeable low that you can easily mix up with safe wall splatting mids for a disgusting 50-50. Up forward 1+2 is Leo's only command grab. Deals 40 damage like most command grabs, but it has the unique ability to wall split enemies if your own back is against the wall for a full combo. The combo damage scaling on this grab has already been nerfed, but it's still pretty strong. Also, the grab will always switch sides with your opponent, even on break, so it's always a good idea to attempt a grab if you have your back to the wall. Now that we have covered Leo's key moves, let's take a look at his stances in the next part.